Oh god. There is no way I'm hitting anything with this. Hold on, let me... I feel like I'm drunk.
This is gonna be quite a conversation for the next 2 months, isn't it? So, great news! As part of the latest PBE drop, yes, I know there is way too many PBE drops these days, the WASD, which still should be called WASD controls, are available. Which means people can have a look into the future. Now, on top of all of this, of course, Riot is putting this on the PBE because they need as much feedback as possible. Which is why, both on the main subreddit as well as on the PBE subreddit, they opened up 2 separate threads focusing on feedback. And you know what Riot got in those places? Hundreds of comments, where like 10% is an actual feedback. Yes, most of the comments talking about WASD are talking about how bad this feature is. They don't know why Riot is doing this. This is clearly gonna destroy the integrity of the game. While everyone is missing the point of why this is even happening. League is an old game, let's not pretend it is not. And truth be told, times change. And with it, the control schemes of video games change as well. These days, the youth, which are not actually that young anymore, believe it or not, the Fortnite kids are like 20 years old now. Well, all of those adults now are still focusing on touch controls and controllers and anything that is not mouse and keyboard. And since over the years League ran into the problem where it became difficult to onboard new players, one way to tackle this would be to give it a new control scheme, which would be something that's closer to a controller even though it is on a keyboard. With that said, as a side note, people managed to figure out how to bind the WASD to controllers. Anyway, the point is, there is a lot of pointless complaining on the internet which Riot doesn't actually need right now. They are looking for genuine feedback on the new controls. And so in this video, that's what I'm gonna do. And first, we will hop onto PBE and you will see my genuine reaction to the control scheme, after which we'll have a look at some of the things that people are saying. So without further ado, let's hop into my streaming setup once again.
Alright, let's just do an honest reaction to good old WASD on PBE. Let's add in a bot. Let's add in someone who can run away from me, which is gonna be... where's Garen? It is practice tool, and it should be all working. Okay, so in order to test this, I need someone with an attack speed, because obviously everyone says that ADCs are broken, but also I need someone who's gonna cast a lot. So well, let's just try Ezreal. But yes, my expectations are... I have no idea. And of course, a little bit of the green screen is already broken. Hold on, excuse me. I'm a professional content creator. Okay, hopefully microphone is not in the way. Okay, so now we can see. So, first of all, let me just get by level 6, I guess, so I get all my abilities. And now... there it is. Hotkeys WASD. Ooh, that's a whole new UI. Oh my god, I forgot I can even move this. Alright, let's just see. Hold on. Modern. Okay, hold on. So they call this the classic. The classic controls and the modern controls. Okay, so this is better. This is better than the old. The camera already shifted, and here we are. I don't even need one hand. I don't want to know what people are gonna use one hand for here. But hold on, let us put in a little training dummy somewhere. Whoop. There we go. And now, okay, so hold on. So Q is now right mouse button, which surprisingly feels good. All right, now, so what I'm doing is literally holding left click. Is it? Right. So if you click, it's gonna auto-attack like it normally does, which makes sense. If you move, that's gonna interrupt the attacking, and it is not gonna attack until you click again. However, if you move, if you hold movement and you hold left click, it's gonna perfectly weave autos in between the cooldowns. Which, okay, I understand that. I will have to say, on Ezreal specifically, right click on Q feels so good. Alright, well,
I hope this works.
okay, so, why is Q? Okay, so the reason why I'm confused here is because I pressed E for E, but E is not E anymore. E is ultimate is E now. Why? I have no idea. Let's fix this very quickly. I want my E, which was always E, to be E. Why did this change? I have no idea. So now Q is free. Q is nothing. Now what I would like to do is one thing. Okay, hold on. First, let me just try the movement. Okay, so shift is W, which sure. So first impression, this feels like I'm playing Wild Rift. I'm not even kidding. And also, I immediately noticed one thing that's gonna affect people a lot. Because yeah, everyone is talking about how AD carries. Okay, let me actually get to Garen. I can't even look. How do I teleport around the map? Okay, so I have to hold to scout, which is not great, but okay. Hello, Garen. Yeah, so there's immediately one thing that's gonna, like, not gonna be great. Everyone is talking about the fact how, like, if you play AD carry, you can kite perfectly. And yes, I agree. Kiting, very satisfying. Like, the movement and weaving autos in between that, very satisfying. But did you notice how easily you can miss a spell? That's not because I'm bad. That is totally not because I'm bad. It's because, as you move... Let me get my banner back. It's because... as you move, the perspective on your camera shifts. So if I'm running, not only am I running up, on the camera physically, not only is Garen running around, but he's also moving with the camera. So if I run up, physically, Garen is moving down on my screen, which means that if I aim, I have to aim my skill shot not only where Garen is running, but also to the opposite way where I am running physically with my character. Which means, for kiting, yes, this is great. For AD carries, this is amazing. For skill shots, I don't know. Landing skill shots is gonna be harder because there is an extra obstacle you now have to deal with. So, for AD carries, yes. For mages, that's gonna be a lot of practice. Like, it's not... I would say it's on the same level as just playing with normal mouse, but then if I swap to mouse, for example, let me just really give you the example. I am now back to my... No, I'm not. Can I go back? Why is my camera locked? Help! Unlock the camera! I hate this bug. There we go. So now, if I wanna cast on this minion specifically, that minion is not gonna move. So if I do this, I can always hit that spot because my camera is not shifting as I'm running with the character. This is an interesting thing, like, mage players have to get used to. For example, like, see, now I'm only aiming for the Garen, camera is not moving. Which means landing skill shots in general would be easier if I wasn't a dumbass. But you get my point, right? The point is, if you play with mouse, the shifting perspective is not present at all. It is when you play with this. Now, the way to fix this... Oh god, hold on. Okay, there we go. Now I need to get you. Okay, there's like so much of like mental gymnastics to get used to this. The way you would fix it is like any kind of like camera control. There has to be something, right? We can't enable camera active. Oh god. There is no. This is like, okay, if you're playing a caster. Also, hold on. If I press Control Q, I'm not leveling my Q. I'm leveling my. I have to play Control right click. There you go. Okay. Anyway, there is no way I'm hitting anything with this. There is no way. So like for scouting again, if you're playing like Tryndamere, yeah, sure, this would work. God damn, this is so wonky. This is so wonky. Hold on, let me. I feel like I'm drunk. This is horrifyingly bad for precision. This camera... I don't like this at all. I am not a fan at all. But then again, this has to be like... Now, if in pro play it turns out that this is like the optimal way to play, I'm gonna be baffled to say the least. Hold on. So, default camera... Oh, I just realized space is flash, which is kind of cool because it's like space, you jump, so you flash. Ah, kind of cool. Anyway, hold on. How did I unlock the camera? I somehow unlocked the camera. I have no idea how. There has to be... So the camera lock still works. Okay, this changes everything. Hold on. I take everything back. Because now, that's what I was looking for. All right, now, never mind. Everything I said before, this is, okay. Okay, now what? Now it's totally something else. So I hold control and right click. So there's some getting used to the controls. You don't want to have your camera locked, just like what you do in something like Wild Rift, for example. Did Garen actually go for Dragon? Oh, there he is. So, okay, now I understand this. Now I understand that this is actually like an alternative way to play League. I will say, I don't think there is too much of a mechanical disadvantage. I play mages, I play supports. I missed half of my skill shots. I can tell you right now, as a mage, I don't feel a mechanical advantage, like straight up. This is just different control scheme. And that's it. For kiting like that, though, that's a different story. If you're playing an AD carry, you can perfectly space autos and stuff. That's a different story. So funnily enough, that feels good. The right click on Q feels amazing, if I may be honest. Yeah, you can do the combo still. So yeah, if you're trying this, play without locked camera. This actually feels good. Okay, took me a little bit to figure out the options, but let me tell you, don't play with this. This is is there anything else that's like flash handling type? What? Okay, so you can flash in the direction. So this is I assume you flash towards your cursor, which should be the default. Then you flash towards your movement. Let me refresh my cooldown so I see if this is actually what it is. Where's cooldowns? Auto refresh cooldowns. Can I just? There you go. So I'm gonna have my cursor above me, which means I should be flashing up, but I'm gonna be running left. Let's see what happens. Yep. So this is movement. Cursor. Flashing towards cursor, makes sense, no matter where I run. And now, movement cursor if aligned. Does it mean there's like a degree in which it works? Let's just clear these. So now, okay, so I think there is a half dome in front of you, so that if your cursor is behind you, you're not gonna flash that direction. If it's like above you, yes you are. Okay, so it's literally 180 degree in front of you. If you put your cursor behind you, if you're not moving, it works. If you are moving in a direction, you can only flash in 180 degrees in front of you. Which sure. Weird, but okay. I would just stick to a cursor. Cast the press spell upon pressing another spell. What? Is it like queuing? So if I'm holding right click. If I press E now. Why? It's like you're locking yourself away from like, you can't. You have to lock in for an ability. Okay, I'm just Ezreal. Oh, look, my skill shots are bad. I don't know why. I don't understand the point of this option. I could be wrong. Maybe it's good on like Lucian or someone. I have no idea. Bind auto attack move to left click. What does that mean? Oh, it means even if you have WASD, if I click on Garen, you still move. Even if I have WASD, but only attack, nothing else. Because this is one more problem that this is gonna have. This is actually a disadvantage over normal control scheme. For example, if I wanna run from this bush to that bush, what I have to do is I have to zigzag. So I have to do something like that. Actually, you know what? That's a straight line, so whatever. What if I want to run from here and I want to run to this bush? If I want to go there, you can see that I'm not aligned with it, so I have to like zigzag a little bit to get there. Mathematically speaking, all those zigzags are extra units of traveling that you have to go. So if you swap to normal controls, if you just right click the bush that disappeared because of Ataka now, it's a straight line. You're technically, if you translate the units traveled into moving, your movement speed is faster with mouse. So I wonder if this is gonna create a scenario where pro players are gonna be switching in the middle of the game between the control schemes. It would be cool if you had WASD, but also, this would be the perfect scenario. You have WASD as a normal control scheme with unlocked camera, Jesus Christ. But if I press Q, for example, because right now I don't have Q bound to anything. If I press Q and right click, I walk in that direction in a straight line. If that was an option, and maybe it is, maybe I'm an idiot, maybe it is somewhere in here. If that is an option in here, then all the problems are gone. And you can play with this in its pure form. At the same time, I'm gonna repeat what I said before. I think this is just an alternative way to play the game. I don't think this is like a heavy mechanical disadvantage, at least from like first impression. One exception is gonna be heavy kiting on AD carries. This kiting, see, and hold on, and the flash was not a lie. Actually, it was cursor. What the heck? Oh, now I understand why you have movement aligned. It's because when you're kiting someone and you're running away, attack me. And you're running away, you can flash in the direction while you're holding the attack on them. Okay, so now it makes sense. Now everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. I understand now. That's pretty cool. But yes, streaming setup of Necrit out. Goodbye.
So yes, overall, I will have to say, the controls feel good. After I figured out the camera and after I figured out how the flash works and everything like that, yes, I can imagine a world where I can comfortably swap from mouse to keyboard and mouse. In fact, if the game launched like this from the very beginning, we would be in a totally different world now. But once again, my take on this is that it's not gonna be that big of a deal unless you are playing specifically an AD carry. But truth be told, for the longest time, AD carries have not really had fun with their roles anyway. So maybe we should be giving them at least something that's good. Regardless, as I mentioned at the beginning, there is a lot of feedback that Riot started getting on the threads. And so, let's just have a look at what people are actually saying. Haven't touched PBE, just want to get here to say this is without question the best or worst thing to ever happen to League and will save or ruin the game, and anyone who disagrees with me is bronze trash. This couldn't be any more of a Reddit reply. Anyway, besides the jokes, there are people who actually found funny bugs. For example, apparently there is a bug where you can get AFK warning if you just use WASD and not click for a while. Also, you may run into a bug where typing doesn't disable movement input, so you can just cast abilities as you call someone bad words. And very often, when you find actual feedback, it is from AD carry players. And all of them agree that this is essentially scripting. Which, you know what, under different circumstances, this could be turned into a script, and in the past this would be bannable. But yes, outside of minor issues with the movement and controls, all of which should get ironed out as you get more and more practice with it, once again, WASD simply feels good. And yet again, some of the bigger complaints still focus on this being totally broken on AD carries. Legit think the whole balance issue will be fixed where WASD plus clicking won't let you auto-kite. Meaning you must not press WASD while clicking on a champion to auto-attack. Just like how you would cancel auto-attacking using mouse only when you click to move when your auto animation hasn't finished. Sounds so dumb when you nerf auto-attack speed inheriting when using WASD. Why add the feature at that point? So what this person is referring to is the fact that Madler had to also make a statement. He mentioned that yes, on AD carries, WASD is a bit too strong, because with the auto-kiting that happens with WASD, you are essentially utilizing 100% of your potential of your attack speed. Which means, when this feature rolls out, it is possible Riot may need to nerf your attack speed a little bit when using WASD, which would simulate the little bit of latency that we have in our brains naturally when clicking. And yes, I do have to agree, that's kinda dumb. Instead, the fix would be to figure out a better way for mouse clickers to kite. For example, what if there was a keybind that would auto-lock onto a character, after which, if you just run with your right click, you keep attacking them as you're running away, and you can focus on the running. While you could swap the lock on in the middle of the fight with the keybind. That, in my opinion, could literally fix all the issues. It's not taking features away from WASD, because people like those controls. It would be making sure that the mouse and keyboard can do the same thing. Now, thankfully, among all the feedback, there are also a lot of people who point out that these new controls are amazing for people with disabilities. And yes, outside of AD carries, people also tried a lot of mages, and they ran into the same issues that I had. Playing a mage simply takes a while to get used to with the new controls, because all your muscle memories are bound to the QWER for your abilities. Now sure, WASD does take away your W, but why does it also unbind your R and make your ultimate cast with your E? I have no idea. And yes, you will also find a lot of people who like WASD, because we're human beings. But that doesn't take away the fact that there is still a lot of people complaining. And so if Riot actually wants real feedback outside of just bug reports, they will have to wait a little bit, and they will have to push it out onto live servers. As they said, first it will be on PBE, then it will be in normal games, and then it will appear in ranked. And so, long story short, the controls work. People actually like it. On some roles, it is way too good. And that is the biggest issue right now. People hate change, and with League being over 15 years old, you bet if you touch anything, people will not like it. And I dread the day the Worlds will be won by someone using WASD controls. The community will be on fire because that is not my game anymore. But that is not Riot's issue right now. Riot's issue is the attack speed while kiting, because I've seen some really broken champions with it.